Hey guys, and welcome back to my next video. Now today we're doing the next video in the CSGO series. Now this is the weapon tutorial series, so of course we're going over a weapon. If you guys already missed the last couple weapons, which is I think the AK, the M4A4, M4A1S, the AUG, and maybe a couple other weapons I don't really remember. We did a couple other different weapons, so go ahead and check them out. Playlist in the description, and definitely if you missed the AUG, go ahead and check that one out, because this is the opposite weapon, which is the SG553, and the SG553 is pretty much identical to the AUG. It's just pretty much for T-side. That's pretty much like the only difference. But definitely go ahead and check out the AUG tutorial. If you know both these tutorials, you're probably a master at both those weapons. But anyways, this is on the SG553. We're going to be starting this video right now. Okay, of course, as always, we go ahead and start with statistics. If you guys want to skip the statistics, oh my god, I cannot speak. Just click the annotation on the video, you'll skip right to the next topic. But this is the statistics. I am done speaking. I'm never saying that word again. Gonna say it in the next video. But anyways, we're doing the SG553 as I just said, and these statistics I like to go over just to go ahead and show you guys if you should even be using this weapon. Of course, you should always try to be better at every single weapon in CSGO. If you want to go ahead and go into competitive, then you never have to worry about picking guns off the ground. You'll always be good with any gun you pick up. So that's always a good idea to go ahead and hold in the back of your mind. But the very first thing for the statistics is the cost. It's 3,000. Which is kind of up there. It's definitely more than an AK-47. An AK-47 is 2,700, and then of course the SSG, which is a sniper rifle, which not many people compare it to, is 1,700. Could have got that wrong actually. I'm not sure. I think it's 1,700, and then the Galil is 2,000. But the SG553 is 3,000, which is pretty up there, as I was saying. But it is a very good weapon. It does have a scope, so for those guys that kind of want a medium to long-ranged weapon will definitely love this gun. The ammo is 30 rounds in the clip, 90 rounds as the extra ammunition. 30 rounds in the clip in 90 rounds is pretty much a basic assault rifle for any team, anything in CSGO. It's pretty good. Never usually run out of ammo with it. That could be just me, but I usually never run out of ammo. The kill ward is 0 points. Gotta keep that in mind. When you get kills with this, you're only getting the money for the kill. You're not getting any reward for getting kills with this weapon. So you'll definitely be low on money if you keep only getting kills with this weapon. The damage is 30. Now remember, the damage is always going to be low for assault rifles. Now that means one bullet hitting someone in the chest is 30 damage. So if you're shooting an assault rifle, of course it's automatic, so it's going to shoot enough bullets to go ahead and kill the person usually, and you won't really have to worry about the damage. Of course the AK has a higher amount of damage because it is a one-shot headshot. I'm pretty sure the SG is a 2-headshot, but again, if you're holding down the trigger, you're probably going to hit 2 headshots if you're aiming at someone's head. The fire rate is pretty much around like 3/4. It's a little bit less than the AK and the Galil. The reason for that is because it's a little bit more controlled with the recoil, which is the next thing. The recoil control is pretty much around the same thing. Now the recoil control and the fire rate and the accurate range and pretty much yeah, all three kind of go together. The recoil control kind of keeps the fire rate and the accurate range around the same amount of what it is itself. The recoil control is pretty average for this assault rifle. I never usually have trouble with the recoil that much. As long as you know the spray pattern, you'll definitely be able to go ahead and use this weapon. The accurate range is 50 meters. Again, basic for all assault rifles. You don't really have to worry about range at all. Mobility is 210. Mobility is pretty mobile because it is a small version of an assault rifle, or a smaller assault rifle, I should say, and you definitely don't have to worry about mobility anyways. The only reason you'd worry about mobility is if it's a light machine gun or a sniper rifle. Armor penetration is 100. It is very good for armor penetration. It's amazing. You'll definitely be able to go ahead and go through the armor. It's very good to go ahead and tear through CTs with armor. You'll definitely be able to go ahead and mow them down. But anyways, that is the end for statistics. We will be moving on to shooting. Okay, so for shooting, there's 3 different types of shooting for every single assault rifle. Now, shooting and movement, which is the next one that will be coming up, pretty much go hand in hand. You cannot do one without the other, and yeah, pretty much you cannot do one without the other. So shooting, there's 3 different types of shooting for the SG. The very first one is just tap firing, one-shotting, whatever you want to call it. You pretty much just shoot 1, possibly 2 bullets if you hold it down a little too long. But you shoot once or twice, very accurate. You're never going to miss your target. It's always on your crosshair. It's always down sight. And yeah, that's pretty much the very basic way of shooting. I like to use that for medium to long range, never short range though, because short range will be a very bad idea to go ahead and use that for. Medium range is kind of mostly used for if they're charging you, not if they're spraying at you. You don't want to go ahead and tap fire. But that brings me to bursting. Bursting is pretty much the next step up from tap firing. Burst firing I use the most because you shoot enough rounds down, and usually what I do is I shoot at the person's head, and as I like spray for a second, I usually aim down as I'm shooting at their head, and you'll always hit headshots. It's usually the best way to do it. As far as the spray pattern for this weapon, it pretty much goes diagonal to the right, which is really weird for these weapons, but it does diagonal to the right, so just remember that when you're shooting, kind of aim down diagonal to the left, bottom left, when you're shooting at a person, and you'll definitely hit those shots. Just got to remember that it's not straight up, it's not a little bit to the right, it's diagonal. Just got to remember that for the SG553, and you will be great. So the next part of shooting is spraying. Spraying does not mean you're going to go ahead and just run around shooting, not even caring for aiming. Spraying is when you have spray control. Spray control would be following the spray, doing the opposite of the spray, and that'll make it so your bullets will always hit perfectly. You'll see my spray control during movement. You'll see it's a little bit off at some parts because I'm not used to using the SG553. I'm used to using an AK and Galil. I never usually buy the SG553, and that's just because I don't really like the weapon. But it is a very great weapon. Don't get me wrong, it's a very great weapon. But anyways, that's pretty much the 3 different types of shooting. Now we'll be moving on to movement. Okay, for movement, there's 3 different types of movement. As I was just saying, with shooting, there's 3 different types of shooting, 3 different types of movement. You can remember that. It's 3 different types, 3 different types. Very simple. So for 3 different types of movement, there is the very basic one, which is kind of just going crazy. This is what the normal one where everyone pretty much does, and it's pretty much where you just run, you do not hold shift, you do not crouch, you do not do any motion to go ahead and try to control your spray. You pretty much just run and fire. Now, you just saw the bullets go all over that wall, and yeah, pretty much that's where your bullets go. They are not going to hit your target. You're not accurate at all. The only time, and do not go ahead and try to do this, the only time you want to use that is if you're just spraying to go ahead and kind of cause a distraction to make them shoot at you than your teammate. Then you might want to use it, but even then I'd rather hold shift and try to kill the enemy, or hold crouch and try to kill the enemy. Which brings me on to the next part of shooting, which is actually holding shift. Shift and moving I do not really recommend. I recommend holding shift and standing still, and shooting just to go ahead and tap and burst fire. Not usually to go ahead and spray. If I spray I go to crouch, which I'll say in a couple seconds, but to pretty much tap fire, burst fire, you're going to go ahead and hold shift. Now, shifting, I never want to do shifting when you're like face to face with someone. You want to use that when they're medium long ranged, sometimes a little bit closer than medium range, but you never want to use shift any other time than that. For crouching you can use at any pretty much range. You just got to remember it lowers your mobility a lot. It goes to pretty much crouching, you cannot even go ahead and move at all. You just got to remember that, and you will be definitely good. So pretty much this is all personal preference as far as shooting, as far as movement. You got to find the ways that they work for you, and then you can use those ways during casual, competitive, whatever game you are possibly doing. But that is pretty much it for movement. We will be moving on to the next topic. Okay, guys, so the last topic is actually practice. Now, before you go ahead and skip this section, because you're like, I don't need practice, I'm a pro, I've got this tutorial down. This video is amazing. Hopefully you're hitting that like button. I know, self-promoting. But anyways, practice, stay tuned. It's only a couple minutes long. You'll survive. You'll survive, trust me here. Practice is probably the best for CSGO. Now, I'm going to go over different types of practice. Practicing, though, is good for anything. Think about it in sports. You practice your skills, you're better in a game. It's no different. In CSGO, you practice your skills, you'll be better on the battlefield. Same thing. Same thing, no difference at all. So practice, I'm going to go over the very basic CSGO 101 is pretty much when you go ahead and look at a wall, you go ahead and shoot, do the opposite spray pattern, keep repeating it until you got the spray pattern down, and you'll be perfect. Yes, that works for some people. Other people, like me, hate that and think it's stupid, and why in the world do I have to shoot against a wall when I could shoot enemies? And that is why I came up with these other ideas, which are the ones I personally like to do. The next one is actually kind of difficult. I'll have the commands in the description. If you guys are good with the console, you'll definitely go right through this. But you pretty much type a couple console commands, which is like bot underscore add underscore ct or t. And then you do a couple other things to go ahead and make them stand still, and they're on your team, so you can shoot them enough, and it pretty much shows you where the impacts hit, so you can go ahead and spray them, see where you'd hit the person on the body, and you'll definitely be good. I like to use that instead of shooting at a wall. I usually don't use that too often anymore. I use that when I was first starting out, because that allowed me to go ahead and see where I was hitting people on the body. It's because when you're quick thinking and you're just shooting and you kill someone, you go to the next person, you don't think, where did I just hit that person? Unless, of course, you're recording your gameplay, and then you can kind of slow it down and see where you hit your shots. It's kind of a little bit more easier to go ahead and see where you hit your shots. But that's pretty much it for that type of practicing. The next one is actually aim maps. Aim maps, this is my favorite thing to do to practice. Is pretty much you go into an aim map, there's a bunch on the workshop. I'll leave my personal preference, which is the one you guys are seeing right now, in the description. You can just go ahead and click it, and subscribe to it, and you can go ahead and use it. That map is absolutely amazing. It goes ahead and has tons of different things you can do. I'm of course just showing the tap firing one, which goes ahead and boosts your reaction speed and goes ahead and makes you a little bit more accurate when you're going ahead and playing. That one is pretty much really good for tap firing and bursting, but that's pretty much it. The last one is actually, there's 4 different types of practicing. I should have said that in the beginning. The last one's actually just playing the game. Pretty much for playing the game, you do not want to hop in a competitive match. That's not what I mean by playing in the game. I know, crazy. Who would have thought of that? Do not hop in a competitive match when you don't even know how to use a weapon. I know, crazy. But anyways, you guys are probably going to want to hop in deathmatch, arms race, demolition. I actually played a lot of those, and then I went to casual, played a lot of casual, then I went to competitive. And that actually worked the best for me. I haven't really I've not been deranked actually at all. Officially have not been deranked at all. Watch me play tonight, get deranked. But I am Nova 2 right now. It's not anything to brag for, but I am just started playing a couple months ago, so that's pretty decent for just starting competitive. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. You guys like to make sure to hit that like button. If you have any guns you guys want me to do in the next video, go ahead and comment below, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.